Welcome to The Grant, the EU funding podcast. The Grant. My name is Niels Tudor Winter, and I am the creator, editor, and host of The Grant. The Grant is an independent podcast initiative with the ambition to dig into all corners of the EU R&D funding system on topics of interest for the full EU R&D funding community. The EU Commission is committed to supporting municipalities and towns throughout the continent, and not just the big cities. Smaller communities, a little off the track, are relying quite a lot on the matrix of funding schemes focused on their issues and challenges. Gata de Gorgos is a town between Valencia and Alicante on the eastern coast of Spain. Through LinkedIn, I got in contact with the great Leticia Monfort-Bireo-Bard, who is the deputy mayor of the municipality. She's a one-woman army for the town in their efforts to approach funding for developing activities. I invited her into the virtual podcast studio to have a talk about how on earth she manages this with practically no resources. It became a wonderful conversation with lots of laughs about conditions in small communities and the challenges that climate change brings to especially the agricultural sector in the Mediterranean region. Please enjoy. The Grant. Welcome to The Grant, the EU funding podcast. Today, I have another guest, and as it has become custom to this podcast, and we are going to zoom in again on the local authority, municipality level, and how you can use EU funding there. And the guest, Leticia, welcome.
Hi, how are you, Niels? Nice to be here.
Yeah. Leticia, before we do anything else and introduce and contextualize this for the why you are here, can you please say a few words about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Leticia Monfort, and I'm a deputy mayor and town councillor for European funding, innovation, and transparency and good governance in a small town called Gata de Gorgos in the southeast of Spain.
Yes, you are, and we'll get back to that in a second. Now, all my guests, no matter how and why they're here, I asked them to shortly say a few words about their experience within EU R&D funding. Do you have any?
Uh, uh, Past experiences or current experiences?
Just what you have under your belt.
Well, I have first my past experience, which is working in the European Commission for quite a few years. I was at the Directorate General of Research and Innovation in Brussels. I was first in nanotechnologies, then I was in bioethics. It was pretty amazing. It was a fantastic place to work, I have to say, with brilliant minds and really amazing projects. Now my current experience is like I'm very much on the other side. So I'm the one. I used to help evaluate projects and project ideas and so on. Now I am the one trying to bring the projects to try and bring some funding to my community. So it's very much very, very different experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So of course, so you've been at the funding administrator side, and now you're at a local municipality side that are trying to reach out for this funding.
Exactly. Now I'm I'm in a much more difficult position, I would say.
It's going to make this conversation interesting because you have both experiences. Now we're going to talk a lot about your city. Yeah, is it a town or city?
Well, I would say it's a town. We are 6,500 people about.
That's tough.
So I would say it's a town. It's a lovely town, though. You know, it's growing slowly, which not everybody's happy about. But I think that's the natural progress of things. So
Probably we'll get back to that too. So we're going to talk a lot about that town. So
okay,
we might not introduce it because normally people tell me what organization they work for, but that's what we're going to talk a lot about that. So let's just keep it at this for the introduction. So you sit you're an elected representative of the people.
yes, I'm an elected representative and quite fresh. Actually, I've been I've been in my post about 1 year and a few months now. Because I used to live all around Europe. My last residence was in Berlin, so I came back to my town for a few what I thought it was a few months, and then it turned to from 2 months, then it turned to 6 months, and then the municipal elections came to place, and suddenly one day someone started knocking on my door and helped me to please join them. It was literally like this. That's what happens in small towns, I guess.
So
And
you stumble onto the election bill.
yeah. And I really didn't know what to do, but everybody was really giving me a lot of support. So I said, I can't, I will join it anyway. This is the first time. I'm not gonna get anywhere. And then in a matter of yeah, it was surreal. In a couple of months, I was there like swearing my post, and I was like, all right, what the hell happened here?
Yeah, you're in office. You know what? I included it in the rundown here, but in the next one. But let's just because now you started with that, so let's just take it like this. So you've been touring Europe. You've been working for the Commission. You're an international partnership there, private. So that probably took you around Europe. I'm in the same position in my end, so I know what that's like. And what took you back to Spain?
Well, that was personal reasons, really.
No.
I was a matter of I was in Berlin, and I didn't have very good health, I guess, and the weather was making it worse. So I came. Yeah, it's true. It's
Yeah,
horribly true. So
yeah.
I came to see a researcher, um, and I came here, and he gave me a new treatment, and then suddenly I blossomed like a
Yeah.
spring flower.
Yeah.
And then we thought, wow, we're staying. My husband, it was my funny enough, my husband is German,
Mhm.
so it was actually the German who said, oh no, we're staying in Spain.
Yeah.
So it was nice. That's how it happened.
Yeah, and of course it requires because lots of people like just to say I would like to live in Spain, and then they do. That's of course because you manage to throughout like the what you are doing professionals, you and your husband. So you manage. That's good. As I'm very happy that you were able to take that decision.
Yeah, it wasn't very difficult, believe me.
Yeah. Because normally it's the finances, but I understand your husband. He's an independent, so he could.
Yes,
T-
he's got his own consultancy, so he can work from anywhere. And so he said, I will work for the private sector, so you can go help your people. That's what he said. So
yeah,
that was
that's
nice.
nice. Yeah, indeed. So you came into the city, and that then so let's just park that a little bit there, hanging there as a cliffhanger for people here. The callback, we'll get back to that later. So run down here, fly in. So talk about the city, the town. You're like the municipality. So what kind of places?
It is. I always compare it to the to the little to the little town in Asterix,
Yeah.
where the
Okay.
Romans tried to get in and bring let's say the Roman ways, but then we stay to our ways, and that in a way it keeps its charm, right?
Yeah.
Which hasn't is difficult to keep when you live in an area of very highly touristic area like the Costa Blanca, right? So we are a 6,500 town. We still have our own agriculture, which is based on basically grapes and wine and olives and olive oil, and we still like to have it, and we're also working to keep it the old way, just our old traditions.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, we have a really high number of university students, actually one of the highest in Spain. So people are very well read here, but I think it's a matter of character on how we were grown up, how we were taught by our parents. Most of the people I know, they went to the university and they came back here. So the same families are kind of keep on generation after generation are staying here. I'm actually the abnormality,
Yeah.
Um,
So biggest city in the neighborhood, that's Valencia, right?
well, the closest we're actually really very much in the middle between Valencia and Alicante. So we
Okay.
are in equidistant. So actually, from where I look through the window, I can see literally I can see Mallorca and Ibiza. So
Okay.
it's really at that distance. We are a few kilometers just on the other side of the sea.
Yeah.
So we are 8 kilometers from the sea. We're a very big mountain at the same time, so it's very picturesque and very nice. It's
Hmm.
lovely. It's a very Mediterranean style town, very similar to Tuscany actually.
Yeah. Nice. As I shared with you, we have an apartment in Estepona in Andalusia. It's
Ah,
quite different area, but it has, of course, Estepona is on the seashore, right? But you have the Sierra, yeah, the mountain that
yeah.
rises in the back there. So I know that the communities you have up in the Sierra would probably a little bit similar because you do have these kind of mountainous areas, and then they would have 10, 12, 15 kilometers down to the sea. So, yeah.
Yeah, and we live in the valley. So the mountain, for us, we
Ah,
call it mountain, but it's about 700 meters. And then there is a whole valley full of vineyards
yeah.
and almond trees and olive trees. So it's actually very beautiful. And then between 6 and 8 kilometers, depending where you want to reach, then you have the sea. So it is, what can I say? It's lovely. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
Spain.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a fantastic country. No, that's nice, but as any place, special, I think no matter where you would zoom in on more rural areas in Europe, both west,
Mm.
north, south, and east, you'll find might be nice, but you have challenges. Yeah?
Yep.
So, can you share the challenges specific to your community? What are they struggling? What are you struggling with in the municipality board?
Um, well, oof. Uh, Several. At least from my position as a politician, specialized in innovation, uh, it is hard to make people understand why they need new things, right? Why they if why they need why they need to bring in the modern technologies, or why they need any kind of change if everything has been working. so far for them, right? That's why I always think of the Asterix little town.
So you're saying it's a little bit, is it traditional with a conservative approach to how
Yeah,
to
yeah,
in the
ex-
sectors, different socioeconomic sectors that
definitely. Then, as I think, as a small town, people are there's also quite an industry, but you cannot really see it, but it is. So we kind of managed to hide it quite well, so it wouldn't destroy the looks of our beautiful area.
Mhm.
So everybody, I think, is relatively wealthy. So there is also this kind of way of thinking, if everything has been working so far
Mhm.
so well,
Yeah.
why to change it, right?
Yeah.
And also at the same time, as we are not so many people in town, the budget that the town hall gets from the state is relatively small,
Mhm.
and so it is very much like a working budget, right? It's just for everyday life. And then if you want to introduce new technologies, or you want to implement any kind of new project, to make it, just to make everything better, and fight climate change and so on, then we're very limited. That's probably my challenges.
So I guess you have, like any other municipality, local community in Europe, you have certain, you have the baseline responsibilities like waste handling,
Mhm.
senior homes maybe.
Absolutely. We're just
Yeah.
building the very first one. Is going to be with a budget of over 3 million euros.
Mhm.
It's going to be amazing.
Of course, you have recreational areas, schools.
Yes, we have
Yeah.
a school, we have a primary school, we have a secondary school, which also we invested a lot of money lately. We also have been building a quite a huge sports complex. Everything is pretty new,
Mhm.
and it's been done within this last, I would say, between the last 6 and 8 years, which it is a new party, a very progressive party where my mayor belongs to.
Mhm.
And they've been doing an amazing work in bringing in state funding mostly.
Mhm.
And they really gave a big push to Gata, which is the name of my town.
Mhm.
So now I appeared, and so they gave the big push, and they built the things that are to be seen, and I am here now to bring the things that nobody will see, but that we all need.
So these are, so as a forward-looking, that's you. Yeah, you're the technology positive part of the municipality board, right? Forward-looking would say, okay, maybe we do try to see if we can put some efficiency into the waste handling, or maybe circular economy processes, stuff like this.
Yeah.
Maybe we can find, like get a little bit of technology into the schools,
Mm.
the upgrade a little bit classrooms, stuff like this. So those corners. But I guess you also, any municipality in the whole world, they would
Yeah.
like to get a business, industry, SMEs, manufacturing industry, stuff like this, because they create workplaces, and it makes people want to come and live there because there's work.
Mm.
There's work. Yeah. So I guess that's also something that you are looking at as a municipality. No?
Not that much, because as I told you,
Okay.
we have quite a few big industries.
Okay.
Really, we have we are big importers of. We've always been really big importers from Indonesia, China. We used to have a big industry of furniture making, like rattan.
Hmm.
And we also have a few companies that make hats, like really
They make what?
hats.
Hats. Yeah,
Hats.
that's
Yeah,
lovely. What kind?
I
Fedora stuff
know.
like this, classical hats or what?
All kind, and by like hats by hand.
Then I will come. I'm a hat bearer myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, so are we,
But,
and then we also, of course, have a lot of hand industry. You know, that we still have all these grandmas that make they weave. You know, like these rattan baskets and so on. And a part of that, we have really huge, really big factory that is specialized in chemistry
mm,
and in chemical products. Then we have another one called Alehop, which is now is all over Europe.
Swedish.
And so actually, I can tell you there is really not much unemployment in this area. That's why I said that people
Right.
are generally quite wealthy.
Okay, so that's good. What
Yeah,
we talked about as a challenge in the pre-talk, climate and environment, yeah,
that's the thing.
starts to
That's the
have
thing.
an effect on core sectors of your the agriculture, fruit, nuts, almonds, and so on, rice. Is that the biggest challenge?
I would think the biggest challenge at this point for me it is the drought, the
The
water
draft, yeah, the
management.
draft, yeah, yeah.
Water management we need it for agriculture, we need it for living, and the
Mhm.
process of desertification is going really rapidly and fatal. And but of course we live in a very touristic area, so at the same time they keep on building golf courses, right?
And
And
we didn't touch this sector, right? Because it's
yeah,
ubiquitous when you talk Spain, at least along the coast, along coastline. You have
yeah,
so you have tourists, and it is part of,
many.
so
Mm,
the service industry is big.
exactly, it's huge, is the main one, I would say. No, not in my very town, but on all the towns around. So of course we're not isolated, whatever I want to think. And also there's yeah,
This is not a sector that give much back other than taxpayers' money, right?
it is
Tax.
not.
It is a sector that uses, because tourists, they expect there to be water in the taps. They expect there to be a
Yeah,
swimming pool with water. They expect the golf
exactly.
course to be green and nice. They
Yeah,
expect the fountains to be with water and running. They
yeah,
you and if it's not, they go somewhere else. Tourists
exactly.
are treasures bitches, all of them. They go, they they do, yeah, they can't be bothered. If it looks like crap, they go away. They find somewhere. They want water.
Yeah.
They and if it does, it can be the smallest thing, but that's just, and this is a huge challenge for all of Spain. Yeah.
Yes, it is very much so. And I can tell you places like Andalusia, as you mentioned earlier,
Mm,
they, being very frank and very blunt, they care. I would think they care less about the environment there, and they really focus on tourism and money making and so on. But Valencian people, so us, we do care much more about our land. We kind of have a very personal relationship with our land. We call it even in our language, we call it terreta, which is my little land,
mhm,
right? So we are terribly careful with every new house that is going to be built, you
mm,
know, and we try and every part of little piece of land that we own, we're trying to make it, we try to protect it, you know, to create laws to protect the land so you cannot build anymore, which is something that doesn't happen in other parts of Spain.
mm.
Of course, there's people, a lot of people that are against it, but as someone that is someone that is trying to fight climate change, the less we build, the better, right? We need nature, we need trees, we need to keep
Yeah.
on planting trees. Those who were, moved away, cut away to build all these golf courses. You know, all these things made me crazy.
I would
And
say
I
from Andalusia experiencing that, you have very few places where you can see that they try to take care of them. But there's a lot of golf courses.
exactly,
There
exactly.
is a lot of use of things, use the places, use of
Yeah.
land, build hotels or urbanizations,
Yes, yes, yes.
constantly take every little patch. What I can say, and that should be a compliment to Estepona municipality, because they have closed the road along the sea to make a paseo.
Mm.
And they plan to close even more roads and streets in the city, right? So there's a little element. The two fountains close to where we live, no water this summer. So at least I get a feeling that it's seeping in, if not, like in that local community that they try to, but there's a lot
A
of
bit
focus.
late.
Eh?
A bit late. A bit late. Especially the places like Malaga. Indeed, they have been so, how to say it without sounding horrible. Uh,
We're not going to
they
bash
they
the
have.
Andalusians now. Don't worry, if you live in Andalusia and love Andalusia, we will soon
we
move on
still
to
we
this
still
to
love
the EU
you.
funding part. I love Andalusia. I think it's fantastic.
It is definitely it's lovely, but in it they focus. They are very focused on. The main industry is definitely tourism, as it has been for us. But we have this place not far away from here called Benidorm, which is infamous for what they did in the 70s. That they started building skyscrapers, and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and it's really bizarre. You
It's
just
horrible.
you drive along the coastline, everything is nice and green, and your palm trees and your olive trees and your almond trees and the vineyards. Suddenly you see this
Absurd.
huge,
Uh, huge.
absurd amount of
Grotesque.
cement, grotesque. and
Yeah.
and and I think that the people like me, my generation, really we want to get back to our roots, and get back what I would say all the kind of people in the 70s, 80s took away from us. So we're trying to recover what was our land. So we have a lot of projects to, to stop the massive building of villas, for example,
Yeah.
and to save water, and to stop golf courses from being built, and to stop big constructors that they had for many many years free way to do whatever they wanted, and say,
Mhm.
oh, stop it there, we are here to stop you, you're not going to create exactly another urbanization, right? There's enough. If you want a house, what we're doing, and I did myself, was there are a lot of empty old houses. Buy them, renovate them. Let's not make it bigger. Let's not create more pollution. We have already a lot of places that you can live in. Let's keep the charm, and let's keep it the way it looks, because it's beautiful. We don't need to show that you have the most money of all, because there's also a lot of what I mean, right? There's a lot of tourists as well, and also a few Spaniards that want to create these huge villas to show what they have, right? And we absolutely against that.
They're not really tourists, right? Those are the ones with a lot of money. With just the only
Exactly.
reason why they're there is the sun. They're not there for Spain. They're there for the sun. They just build whatever they want to build, and those are the people that everybody dislikes the most because they don't
Yes,
care.
because they don't care. They really don't
No,
care, and they don't think how it can affect to anybody.
no.
And then there's a lot of start to be lately a lot of movements against tourism,
Yeah,
which I don't think is fair. I don't think it's fair,
it's a natural
but
development.
this also you understand why some people are against it, right?
I,
Because
I understand. No, Letitia, it's a very nice conversation, but it has not much to do with the EU fund. It's a nice back curtain that because it gives a nice string to hit a chord here about what we're going to talk about now. Because we're going to talk about how you are trying to use EU funding to solve some of these challenges, because that's at the end of the day the funding that the EU Commission does channel towards municipalities, local governments, regions, and so on. A lot of it is exactly the challenges that we have talked about here. So effects of climate change, preservation of getting nature back to what it used to be, dealing with like circular economies, making things more efficient in small communities, upgrading standards, and so on and so forth. Now, can you share a little bit with us how you work with this?
I work as I told you, I haven't been in my post long. I basically, what I'm doing so far is for small projects, let's say local, easy to bring to action. We rely mostly on local and state-based funding, which of course most of it comes from Europe anyway. For bigger projects water related or agriculture related, I go directly to Europe. I go to and also for me networking is basic. I'm very often in Brussels and on the Committee of Regions, and I go directly there and I say, look to the big bosses, this is what's happening. I need this. Who can give me what I need for my people?
Yeah. So let's pause it there. Now, this is the precondition for this is because you've been working with the commission. Now, you know your way around Brussels.
Yeah.
So you know where to go, and you know who to ask. That's a good start when
Yes.
when one sits in your position, because you didn't even mention that you don't even have a salary. So you truly work for the taxpayers without getting anything from the taxpayers, so to say. And
Yes, that's actually true.
you truly serve them. When it's like this, it's a gift for you that you know at least how to go and solve it, where to ask, where to push. Do you do you have do you have do you have an approach? Do you have anything, a specific way of doing this, a strategy or call it whatever? But do you have a certain, okay, you sit down with the mayor, you sit down with the board, and say maybe we should try to focus. We have these and these and these challenges with water, with nature. I think I should go. Can you share it?
I'll tell you, my board is the mayor and me.
Yeah. Okay, that's quick. So what does he say? You go do it, Letitia. I think that's the best strategy.
I go tell him, dear mayor, that you trust me so much. Thank you. I found that there's because I of course follow what the European Commission is uh, what they're doing every day and what they're focusing on and what they are about to offer. So I'm always in the loop, right? And I say we have a meeting or whatever, I find something, I run to his office and said, "Oh, Joseph, I found this. I think I should go and ask because there's a good chance." And I say, "Book your ticket." And that's a very simple way to put it, but it is very much so. I also, of course, making sure that I put now my town is in the Covenant of Mayors,
Yeah.
which was not
Pause.
before.
Pause. So people out there, dear listeners, Covenant of Mayors. Explain, Letitia.
Yes.
What's that?
The Covenant of Mayors for Climate Change is a big organization, European organization related to the European Commission, whose main purpose is to fight climate change in Europe, and do it in a communal way. So they meet several times a year. and it is mostly for mayors, deputy mayors, and people like me that really need to do something. And then they bring the experts from the commission and from other agencies, and give us the option to network and teach us how to access all this funding. That's why networking, going to Brussels and be there, is for me is so important. The Committee of Regions as well. There are chances, and a lot of people don't know about this. I guess I play with a bit of that as well. Know that
Mm-hmm.
as a town councillor, the Association of European Town Councillors. So I go and inscribe there. So I get invited to more conferences and more events. And so in a year, in this year and not long that I've been there, we already received several mentions, about 13, between 13 and 15 mentions and awards of our work and innovation and fight of climate change, and which for such a small town is it's quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
My mayor is very happy. But it is because we've been very dynamic. He gives me really the green light to do anything. I think it's might be good, and I have no fear.
Indeed, yes. Now, because now we're together, I'm forcing you to give because you have a strategy. We're doing we're mapping it together. So, how many of these fora are you involved in?
Wow. Do I have to count?
I like no, but it's
I
important. Your reaction is important, and it's important that people out there they understand. So, are we talking 10? Are we talking 30?
I might be. We might be talking 15.
Do you have 15? 15 initiatives, Brussels based?
The Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
my best guess is that they're not all commission right now. You have some
No. No.
associations, you have mayors. Are you all
Foundations.
uh, uh, now? What I would like you to do, don't have to tell them here, but I'm going to put them on the episode side.
Yeah.
Which places you are involved, have involved yourself, because I want I want people to understand the core to this strategy, because this strategy it is based on networking and get as much out of your little resources as possible.
Yes. Exactly.
So you're involved in 15. That's it. Second,
About.
mhm,
Yeah.
they have different frequencies. Some of them meet often, some of them meet less often. There's a certain rhythm in these
Yeah.
places. Yeah. Are
Yeah.
you involved in working groups or reference groups or any kind of places where you sit in a place and you discuss things on a regular basis for developing suggestions to the commission on how to? Or,
Yes. I since not many months away, I've been. I got, how to say it, signed in. I was
mhm,
inscribed. I was chosen.
mhm.
I Whatever you want to call it,
Elected. This
to
is
be
your
one.
second elect.
I've been
I'm getting used to
the
it.
chosen one.
Yeah, getting used to it.
uh, to be a one of the town councillors at the Committee of Regions, for
Yeah.
example.
Hmm.
Which is for many people maybe it doesn't sound like anything. For me, it's a big deal, definitely,
Hmm. Yeah.
because being from such a small place I come from, you have to jump a lot of obstacles to get there,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Also in this covenant of mayors, which brought us to get twice the mention of being city of innovation,
Hmm.
which also the more merits. Let's say you have to. There's like a unwritten uh, unwritten scale of merits,
Yeah.
in Europe. Said, okay, this town seems to be doing a lot. We keep this person or this town in mind,
Mhm.
and the more you do, the more events they invite you to, and the more places they ask you to talk. for, with, or the more you do, the more you get.
Yeah.
Basically, you have to give a lot to get as well, and that's what. And I can't lie. I really enjoy it. I have a passion for that.
Yeah.
This networking and this putting new ideas together and work together for the good of Europe. It's something that since my 18, since I'm very young, since I was very young,
You're
that
still
has
young.
been
But
there in me. No, I'm not. Look, but it's always there. So for me, it's my work is really a pleasure, and it's tiring, it's complicated, but I have no problem in taking the plane and going to Brussels. Or now I'm going to Slovenia in September, and then in October I'm going to Brussels for a week. So I have no problem in packing my suitcase and going to talk to a lot of people I don't know and ask for what I want and what I need for my people, right, back home.
yeah. Now, to relate to listeners out there, so it's of course to be able this. It's special. You don't get a salary, but you have the freedom.
No.
You have the freedom to do all of this as you want.
Yes.
Yeah, so you have a budget in the municipality. So, okay, Letitia, we can. There's a travel budget. It's
Yeah,
important.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's what
it's
it is.
travel.
Yeah.
The time wise,
Tiny.
yeah, but you still there is one,
Tiny
and
one.
you can
Yes.
book yourself to go, and with your time resources also, it's part of your work.
Yes, it
Yeah, it's
is.
part of how you structure your work as an elected
Yes.
representative in this small group in this tandem you have with the mayor.
Yeah.
So to relate it to people, listeners out there, if you work for a municipality, of course it's not the same. Many of you that would be listening here, you do get a salary because that was most people they do to live. You needed to live. You you probably have other stuff to do. Then the teacher here probably have a responsibility in your municipality that means that you cannot engage yourself in 15 different fora in Brussels. But the method, if we pull everything out, we peel the banana, we go all the way to
Yeah.
the core of the onion, right? Is that finding yourself the places in Brussels that is important for exactly your purpose. Yeah?
Exactly.
And engaging yourself
Exactly.
because teacher, you know where to go. People out there, people can tell you where to go.
I know where to go, but especially, yes. And if I don't know, I try anyway. I think it's very important to be fierce and to have absolutely no fear of knocking on the wrong door, because you knock many, they
Yeah,
will not open all of them, but some will, and or some will tell you it was not here, but if you go to the other one, I know
go back to
someone
Spain.
that could help you.
Yeah, yeah,
So it
exactly.
is about being, uh, in my case, it's about being fearless,
Yeah.
which I think is not something that everybody can do, right?
Indeed, to tell the truth, it was probably when I started my professional career after university. I probably was a little bit introvert, but my path of career has taken me out of that. 'Cause
Oh,
so
you
it
did
made
it
me into
right.
I made it into a ruthless networker and knocking down all the doors in Brussels that I had to when I was in a position where I was supposed to find ways and put myself in chairs here and there. And this is also my message that my regulars know. I don't say that often, but now we're back at it again. I said it before. Don't be afraid to ask, and don't be
Exactly.
afraid to test it out, because nobody's gonna get angry.
No, exactly,
Nobody's
exactly,
gonna get angry.
exactly. The worst thing that can happen to you is that they tell you, no, it's not possible.
Go away.
That's it. Yeah, not even go away. You will understand that you have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
run.
yeah. But they say, but the conditions for getting into this forum, you need to do this or that. So you cannot, with
Exactly.
the profession you have or with the organization you represent, or
Hmm.
there's a fee to get on board. Whatever, It's but you ask people You ask
Yes.
yourself around. And you can also ask me. I will put a
It's
link to
funny.
the teacher's LinkedIn on the episode side, so you can also ask her. Oh, you're gonna get more work now.
No, please. That will be lovely.
Yeah,
No,
no.
it's funny what you said about the fee. Actually, all these conferences and events have a fee,
Mm,
but once they get to know you, and that doesn't take long, they actually they say, please
mm.
do come because you bring some, some, I don't know what, some dynamic kind of.
Yeah.
There's something that you bring that we like. I really don't know what it is, Niels, but I'm telling you, I'm not at this point. I'm not paying any any fees to get to any event.
No, but
They're really even
it.
asking me to go.
Yeah, that's also because, but again, that has taken work for you to get there. Yeah, it
Yes,
has
of course.
taken networking. It has taken a lot of meetings. It takes a lot of bilateral talks.
Mm.
It's taken a lot of nurturing of the network, right,
Mm.
to get to that place.
Yes, absolutely,
So
absolutely, absolutely.
now,
It's
if
not. It's
we
not. I don't say this. It's not the easiest,
no,
it is really cool. I really love it.
yeah.
I have a
So
passion for it.
the message, of course, find out, map where you want to go. And you can do that in many ways. You can use Google is your friend, but also to go to take the step by step. Find the commission. The commission often has guides, whatever, on different pages on what are the important organizations, or if it's the European partnerships or whatever.
Mm.
They have got you. You will find your way. It takes a little time. It's like this. You're a little detective intelligence to find out where is the important
Yeah,
fora for you and for your stakeholders, and for, if we're talking municipalities, for the
of
importance of
course.
what you want to do with your what do you say, organization in municipality. Can be school, Erasmus, for instance, if you need funding, if you need the environment, or life, different environmental projects, stuff like this. No.
Yeah, of course. But you have to also you have to be very also aware that you can fall into a kind of rabbit hole in
Yeah.
Brussels, right? So you have to. There's so much and so many places, and you cannot attend everything to see what comes down onto your plate. You go very. In my case, I set myself these targets. I say, okay, I want to focus in transport, solar, and electric sovereignty, so solar panels. So okay, I will go to CINEA, right, or I will go to the
Hmm.
Solar Impulse Foundation, which is I'm actually gonna meet them in October, which is an incredible organization.
Hmm.
Um, you don't go to random places because there's so much going on. You really have to focus in what you need for your place. Otherwise, there's no time, there's no resources for everything. You
Hmm.
have to always keep your mind very clear on where you go and which doors to knock,
Yeah,
at
because
least once.
this is the baseline square root condition for all municipalities. There's also always resources.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. Letitia, we're moving into to cracking a little bit on the things that hurts a little bit, because now we need to talk
More?
a little bit about the actual funding. Now, do you, which we talked, of course, about this in the pre-meeting, and you mentioned it's not that easy.
No, it's not.
Have you been involved in EU projects while do you have anything from Interreg, or from Life, or from Horizon, or anything?
We got something from New Horizon. We actually are about to build a big senior center
Yeah,
with
nice.
European money. Yeah, which is over 3 million euros. So it's a pretty
It's a
big project
horizon.
for. Yeah, I think if I'm not wrong, yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was. Together with local with the state, but all together came from Horizon, and we also
Was it Elena we
put
talked about?
the Lena comes late.
Okay,
We
sorry.
we also we oh you
Sorry.
we also yes, we also got a bit a big bunch of money for a process of water digitalization. So
From
from the European Union.
yeah, but which box? Which cigar box? Do you remember? Live?
It might be live, but
Yeah.
I can't really at this moment
Sounds
swear for it.
plausible. Is it a small consortium?
No, it was quite big.
Well, then it's probably not live. Then it's probably Horizon.
Sounds more like Horizon than. And then in my near future, I'm working now in an Elena project. Thank you.
Wow, you're working on Elena. So try to sound surprised. Now,
Which is
Elena.
getting bigger. It's getting bigger and bigger as I talk. Is as I'm putting things together, and then I see a new idea, and okay, I want to implement this one as well. So from something that it was just basically very one-sided, now I have a lot of like little rivers that go into a big river. So it's getting into a huge thing. And I thought I would have done it for last May, but of course, new things have been invented and implemented, and that now I want the newest things for my place, and I keep on redoing my project and refining and refining and refining. I don't know when I'm gonna stop refining, but
You have to stop because you can always, Elena. You can always add more. The thing is, for the listeners who does not know or do not know what Elena is, it's the European Investment Bank.
which is a wonderful tool, I have to say.
And it's the tool. It's what is it? Energy. I don't remember what it stands for, Elena. Anyways, it gives money to the project scoping. So this is what you normally have if you need to do a big. I helped an Elena application for a housing association, so they had a lot of buildings, residual buildings, and they wanted to upgrade them with solar panels, with intelligent windows, with the insulation and so on. And that's of course a very expensive project. But what Elena then gives money for is the pre work to scope it. How does this need to be done? So any kind of building a big project of with buildings or energy efficiency, whatever, it needs a pre-scoping work where we needs to be you need drawings from professional building consultants. You need environmental consultants to check these things. You need energy consultants, so on and so forth. All kinds of different professionals that come and say, okay, if you need to do like this, then you need to do this and this and this, and then. So this is what Elena finances.
And that's why I think it's so good for. I thought it was so ideal, potentially ideal for our municipality, because, and this is I think something that happens very often to small towns like mine. That we have a lack of resources, but not only financial resources, but of course we have a lack of expertise, right? I can have an engineer, or I can a municipal architect or municipal engineer, but what Elena does is that they they bring you their own engineers and their own technicians, and they come surplus, like you can say, on site, and they tell you, okay, we think this is a good idea or not. Maybe place it here or not. So they bring you they bring you the
Mm.
professionals, and really they bring you the brains of it. You can have an idea, and then they really help you to put it together. Uh, because the fact is, we cannot, most of us, we cannot afford big consultancies, right?
No,
Or
it's expensive.
that's it's very expensive. It's very expensive, and that's why I thought that Elena would be probably the big answer for us, right?
Now, the intelligent, the grand listener, and all of my listeners, they are intelligent. They are now thinking, but why is she talking about that she can keep adding things? Isn't there a deadline? And the question is, and the answer is no, there is no deadline, which is extremely dangerous because I've been in that process myself. So I can tell you it's a wonderful funding scheme, but the challenge, the dysfunction, I call it dysfunction because it has the potential to totally make you crazy, is that the wonderful Elena administrators, you get a you get an officer on it, maybe even two, and they keep, so you send in your application and then they come back, yeah, but we would like, can you fold a little bit more out what you want here? Then you fold that out, you send it back. Yeah, but we would also like, you mentioned this here. Could you? And I cannot count how many times that application went back and forth, and meetings with the ones I was supporting in the housing association for them. So, and they, in the end, they were pulling the hair out of their heads. Why? Why can't they just give us the money? Why?
Why? What
Give
have
it.
I done wrong in my
Yeah.
life? So imagine for someone that is
But they
like
have it
me, that is
now.
always refining, 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 refining. Then it can be like a never-ending process. But I believe in my Maya, and I believe in myself, and I know we'll get it.
Oh yeah, and what I can say is that when you just need to know this before you enter the process.
Oh
If I had
yeah, that
known
that.
this, I would have taken a deep breath. Okay, now I enter into purgatory, and then I would have walked through to take all the punches. I wouldn't have been so frustrated if I had known it was so. So for you, dear listeners, if you have interest in Elena, I'm going to put a link in in the episode side notes here. Go there, look through. It's a wonderful fun scheme, but you just need to know it's going to take you a while to get it. You get the good thing is you get the money. They give you the money. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
for the
but
beginning. They say yes, we will give you money for this. So they keep with the carrot in front, and then you, you run after.
it's not for the faint-hearted, though. You
No,
know,
no.
you have to have a bit of patience. You know, take it with a, every advice with goodwill. Said, I know they're telling me it's for the best, they know better. They know better than me. That's the way I look at it.
Mhm.
Because
But
otherwise, I would have to get some chill pills, and I don't want to.
yeah, now, um, so that's so here. So so what kind of elements do you include in that Elena application? Which buildings, which areas, which are we buildings of? Is it energy efficiency or what are we talking about?
Is energy sovereignty I'm aiming to.
Mhm.
Uh, I think we are coming through the end, towards the end of the solar panels. There's new technologies to use solar energy much better, and in many more surfaces that are not only normal buildings and normal ceilings. Then one of the parts of the University of Alicante have just developed a very good product, which like a kind of foam that you can apply around the trees, and it kind of it avoids the humidity to leave the earth. So
Yeah.
it really helps to keep the humidity in the water in the fields, let's say, right? These are a couple of them, but I have so many. I have so many points at this point that but these are the main ones.
It's important. It's important for people to understand how you are using EU funding, because this is something that helps you. So I'm happy that you talk so warmly about it, Lena. That is something that is helping you a lot. So what I would say to listeners out there, if you sit in a municipality, check it out. Investigate a little bit the funding scheme if you haven't heard of it yet, because it solves a lot of things with the things that are expensive before actual work gets done with construction companies coming in, whatever. So, yeah.
And I have to say, they were themselves very, very helpful, very, very helpful. I met them last year. I met one of the representatives that was a young engineer. I met him, I think it was in October of 2023 in Brussels in one of an event organized by the Covenant of Mayors. And I didn't know about Elena at all. So I was curious and I went to talk to him. And he was super, super helpful. I had a couple of ideas in my mind, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted for my town yet. And he, with a couple of sentences, would put together a very interesting plan and a very feasible plan.
Yeah.
So you could see how open they are and how willing they are to help. They are not I think many people, and I've known many elected members that they seem very shocked when I say, well, I go to Brussels and I talk to these people, and the other one, because they do believe, or they seem to believe they are in kind of live in an ivory tower, but they are really not. They are just people like you and me, and they are much more approachable than what people believe.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, believe that most of them, although they do have a salary, unlike me,
and a good one.
they do believe in the idea of working for Europe and working for the citizens. So that's what I've experienced.
It's also the discourse of and the message in this podcast throughout the 125 episodes. Whenever we talk about the commission and the people working there, you might criticize them, and I also do myself, but you cannot take away the fact that I have never met someone who was not approachable. I've never met anyone in any of the institutions that would be rejecting or would be not listening or would not
Never.
take a meeting or listen interested to what stakeholders have of feedback to fund, whatever. It should be so clear, and I hope that this podcast helps for people out there in Europe to at least drop by drop, Chinese drop, the people they don't think that it's an Irish out, that they do go there, they do pick up the phone, whatever.
Absolutely, and I'm telling you, I also met some of the most brilliant people I've found, most intelligent, the better learned, and the most human, and at the European Commission in DG Research. I even had like incredible bosses, that were not teaching me only about science and bioethics, but also human ethics, which for me was incredible. It was a great time of my life. And I think that's why I'm also so willing to go there, because I kind of, they made me feel like home in a way, maybe it's a bit corny what I said, but it is so.
I understand.
Yeah.
Maybe so. What we talked, you and me, in the pre-meeting, the grant wants to join proposals. I'm trying to push. also the message in my at the end of my podcast and so on. I try to make people aware of the fact that they can actually invite me into posts. But I also try to talk to people I know and say, look, whenever maybe we could do tandems, try to find ways of helping each other to do things, because I know the way through the funding landscape. My guests and contacts, they know the way through. And I think that out there, listeners, if what you've heard here from the teacher is something that is a town that you would like to invite or to have a discussion, to join a consortium within the areas we're talking about here, do reach out. And I would be more than happy to be a communication partner in such a place and do podcast episodes about what's happening in the project.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not
lovely.
expensive, and as you can hear, the teacher, she's not expensive either. A big round zero for the budget.
Just pay her plane ticket.
Yeah. Travel budget is a little on the high side, but
give me.
actually, I managed to slip in my marketing quite well there. for the both for you and for me. That's good. Nah. No, but the truth is that when we talked, I started to look into where there could be possible funding sources within those corners.
Yeah.
But it's also true that the Horizon Europe is taking a small break, so there are not so many calls, at least known in 25. So if anybody out there, they know a way through and can invite us in for that, let us know.
Yes, and also with Interreg. I'm very interested in that as well.
What I can tell you, I don't know if she's still listening, but I had a guest from the Spanish Winemakers Association. And she was doing, they were doing Interrex. She was doing Interrex with them. So do you have winemakers in your region? In your municipality?
We make a lot of wine. Make a lot of wine.
So I'm very sure that if you reach, I can make the connection. So you can have a talk with her, because they do projects on a regular basis. I can also send you the episode where she was in.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're about to finish.
As you are your podcast.
No, but I think we covered quite well. I think the most important thing for me was to fold a little bit out, and you got to tell about the city, the town, the environment, and so on. And we talked about how we mapped together your approach and how you're doing it. A question I forgot to ask: Did you so all the committees and fora that you are involved in, right? Did anything come directly? Any of the funding or leads or so on, did anything come directly out of your participation in those places? Do you understand the question? Did anyone, because you were there, say, you know what, we're actually doing a proposal for this and this? So did you have any side effects like this?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Because that was actually the key point.
I just don't know whether I can really mention exactly what.
Don't have to concretize it. Don't have to make it concrete because it's often but the main point is that if you involve yourself, you get invited.
It does. Yeah. It does happen. It does happen, and something that really surprised me is that they remember you from one meeting to the next, and they can have maybe a year can pass. And that happened to me, I remember very well, because I was absolutely shocked. In the Covenant, the second time I went to the Covenant of Mayors, the very same founder, which is a lovely guy called Frédéric Boyer. I introduced myself to him the first time, and the second time we're just I didn't tell him I was there or anything. And we had a coffee break, and then I heard someone calling me Leticia from afar, and yeah. And he came and gave me a hug, and I was like, oh my God, this guy actually, he did remember me being who he is. And he came and took me quickly, he took me by my arm and introduced me to some people who actually were working in interesting stuff. And that they were, in the end, they have been key members and key people for some of the things I'm working on. So these things do happen. They do happen. Yeah.
Because that was actually a key point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is surprising. I didn't think that would happen that way, but
It does.
yeah, it does.
Whereas working Brussels as a facilitator, not inside the commission, then I've been working around the institutions, and that when you do that, that is exactly what happens.
Yes, and those who have been living in Brussels and working in the institutions, we do know that Brussels is a very small place, where in the end everybody knows each other. I think the concept of Brussels is very big, but the Brussels itself as a community and as a working place, it is very small, very compact, and once you're in, if you are a bit clever, you it's very easy to get in and get what you need.
It's Brussels is a conglomerate of thousands of villages.
It is.
Yeah. You have a village of hydrogen. You have a village of wind energy. You have a village of regions. You have a village of whatever. It's actually can be quite suffocating sometimes. If you work within it too long, but yeah, if you have a broader perspective of broader spheres that you work in, then if you haven't work with more villages, then it's not so suffocating.
Yeah, I think if you're one of the lucky ones that go on missions and so on, then it's not suffocating. And then you live there and you get yourself a nice apartment and get to know Belgians. It's actually quite a good place to live.
It is. Leticia, that's it. We reached the final destination that all my guests they have to reflect over. The toughest challenge.
Oh.
So the toughest challenge for you and relating to Gata de Gorgos, dealing with EU funds. What if you close your eyes and think, okay, that's rough.
Are you asking me what the roughest is?
Toughest.
In my position.
Working in relation to dealing with EU funds, so EU funding.
I think the toughest is the frustration of finding a fantastic funding tool perfect for your project, for a project you had in mind. Then that you read the small letters and they say, okay, you have to provide a 20 or 30% of the amount we're going to provide. And then you talk to your to the CFO, to put it somehow, to the financial controller, and they say, do we have, I don't know, 500,000 euros to
Just
say amount?
Thinking.
Like, and he looks at you and says,
are you crazy?
Are you insane?
Yeah.
Don't you remember what we talked in the last plenary session?
He gets angry. Get out!
So that is very much.
Who elected you?
It is very much the catch-22. Niels. It's a bit like with the banks, right? You need a bit of funding to get more funding, and if you don't have any funding, then you cannot get it. It's this kind of this loop, right? And if you get into this loop, you can go crazy. So I think that's why you really have to have your targets very well aligned, and to know where you can get, and also to aim at what the things that are really big but feasible, like Elena, let's say,
So in other words, if you sit out there and the request that we just came with some minutes ago, with we really like to have these guys in our project, in our proposal, it needs to be 100% funded. Do you understand what we are saying?
Excuse me, anybody has some money to lend me? I have a great ideas.
But as you can hear, it's going to be great fun. Lots of laughs. That also counts for something. Yeah. So
I don't think I've laughed so much in a podcast in a long time.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is to be with the grant. We have lots of fun in the editorial office here. Oh, how we laugh.
Yeah.
So the tough challenge is to squeeze yourself through, because actually the conditions is you cannot come with all kinds of co-funding, or of course it limits I understand.
And also something very complicated when you come from a small community is working with consortia, right?
Yeah.
If you are a university, or you have you already come with a nice amount of funding from some other mecenas, then it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I think I've been looking into working in consortia, and it is really, really tough. I don't think if I'll ever manage. Honestly. So I was trying Interreg and see whether I can work, but
let's see. The thing is, and that is what I'm guiding people through in other parts of my podcast. The best way is always to jump wagon. And the best places, of course, as you like paying consultants fees for writing, that's difficult, right? So you need to go to a place where you can slip yourself in as a partner, where you don't have to pay anything to be part of the consortium, and then you're like finding the right call, finding the right partner that is most likely to find the funding. I know how to do
exactly.
the intelligence. I just don't have the time to. I know how to do
it. And another good way is to find a good funding, which even if it's not exactly what you were looking for, but then rethink of the idea you had, and they said, how could I accommodate my idea to this funding?
Yeah.
So not kind of, because I've seen a lot of people that are waiting, just they're scrolling every day, and funding, and what's new today, what's being offered today, and they say, yeah, but there's nothing. I say, no, yes, there is a lot of things. There is plenty, but you have to think in the other way. Just give it a twist.
Yeah.
Just think the way they think, not the way you had foreseen it before, but just try to adapt to it, and then it comes much easier. You have to be adaptable, and as we said earlier, adaptable and fearless. Just go for it. Yeah. The worst that can happen is that they say no. So
yeah, it's the same with proposals. The worst that can happen is they don't get funding. It's like on that note, we have to end the program, but it's just so if you can you stop laughing while I'm talking?
I don't think so.
Now, I will have to land this plane, as I always do. So, dear listeners, thank you so much for listening to the end. I hope our laughs here didn't distract you from the serious content that we're trying to pass on through to you. Do go, if you think this was interesting, do go to my platform, thegrant.eu. You will find tons of episodes. There are more than 120 episodes now. Lots of content. Also, I have several episodes focusing on the municipality and local environments and so on. So you will find definitely more content there. If you are only scrolling through Spotify, scroll down, you'll find it. It should be clearly marked. Now, on the website, I've categorized things. So you can also go in and find things under Horizon Europe or under Erasmus or Brussels ecosystem, whatever. Do that. And while you're there, do subscribe to the podcast email list. This is what helps me as an independent podcaster to move forward. I've just passed number 200 on my list, and that's quite a lot for such a small podcast that I'm running here. So thanks for that, everybody out there who have subscribed to that. Finally, connect with me on LinkedIn. That's where the fun happens. That's where the flow is. That's where I like stuff. That's where I comment stuff, and that's where I pick up my guests, because that's how I picked up Letitia here for the podcast. So it's important to be in there and like my stuff. Go and like my stuff. You might become a guest on the show. And then finally go to, I've made the grants page, which I try to channel all the info going through there. So I think that's it. And invite us for your proposals. We want your money, or we want somebody's money. Or we
Please.
Let's say goodbye to the dear listeners. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Grant. All the Grant episodes have their own site on the Grant website. You will find the link in the episode notes where you listen to your podcast. On the side of this episode, you will find a link to Letitia's personal LinkedIn site, and further you will find a link to the Elena funding scheme that we touch upon during the episode. Next week, there is another episode in the implementation series. This time I zoom in on the role of the EU project officers and the function they have. For that, I am so lucky to have former project officer Sergio Ferreira, now Senior Innovation Advisor at Norway Health Tech, in the virtual podcast studio to share his experience with you and me. You can indeed look forward to that. Remember that the Grant would really like to join some EU proposals as a partner or subcontractor. I'm slowly getting interested feedback for having the Grant included in proposals for the 2025 calls. And why is that? That's because some proposal developers realize that adding sound to the proposal communication strategy can be a strong addition to connecting with the project stakeholders and the world beyond the realm of the project. For a relatively small part of the project budget, the Grant steps into the communication and dissemination group and delivers a plug-and-play solution with strong podcasting expertise, 15 years proposal and project experience, and a big follower base. Reach out through LinkedIn or my website if interested. Finally, don't hesitate reaching out if you want your own podcast episodes flagging topics of importance for you specifically. Grant's consultancy company Inspire Science have their own series with 3 episodes flagging their capacities within different areas of supporting research organizations towards EU funding. The possibilities are many. Flagging your capacities as a company, pushing a message towards the Brussels ecosystem as research organization, promoting an important event, or boosting your communication strategy. The Grant offers a plug-and-play solution with a podcast host with 15 years of experience within the EU R&D field, which secures the solidity of the content. I'm not a journalist, I'm a conversation partner that understands your perception. See you next week.